You're listening to Journaling with PT. I am your host, artist PT Russell. This is a podcast that highlights emerging talent, creative voices, and artists from all around the world. I had the pleasure of meeting an artist with such an amazing talent and brilliance that he shines like the sun. He is my next guest, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. My conversation with Jahmakesmusic. Almost 3 years ago, I think it was about 3 years ago, on Clubhouse, I happened to be in a room with my next guest. And I don't know, it's just, I fell in love with the beauty of his spirit. And I want you to meet Jahmakesmusic. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody? I'm sending love. I'm sending peace. I'm sending happiness. How are you doing? I love that was a beautiful introduction. I felt so honored. For real.
So now I have an idea about what your name means or represents, but can you explain a little bit more to our listeners?
Definitely. John Makes Music and the John Makes brand as a whole, to me, has always been my way of articulating my message from God, because it stands for God Makes Music. My name is Ja. But
Mm.
my intention with that stage name was to articulate the point that we are God's song. God makes music, it is His creation, and the universe is His song. And I believe that the best way to connect people to God is through sound, is through frequency, is through vibration. And I believe that name is the first step in, professing that to the world, connecting that to, humanity. Because right now, music is in a state where it isn't necessarily too much in alignment with God. I feel like frequency has been weaponized in the modern day, and I want to change that.
Wow. One song at a time.
Amen.
This is something else. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna find out about this young man. He is something special. He's the real deal. He's just full of talent, and your music, uh, that album that you did, Heartbreak, after breakup. Am I saying it the right way?
Yeah, love after heartbreak. Yep, you had it right.
Love after. I I don't. That album is something else because the sound, the lyrics, the tone, it's just the whole aesthetic is something that takes you on a trip. I'm telling you. I went on a couple of trips. Every time I go into that album, I'm just taking another journey. Just with your vocal style, your delivery, your intensity and emotion. Uh, can you tell us a bit more about what went into that album?
Definitely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. For me, that was pretty much therapy. Like that was my breakout. Like I'm gonna finally drop a full body of work and let people get an idea of who I am. And I always knew I wanted my albums to be stories, but that was a very natural what was really happening to me in my life at that time, and that was like my therapy way of expressing it. And I had a lot of depressing songs on there
Mm.
because of what I've been going through at the time. But when I really sat down and I wanted to make the full EP and turn it into a real thing, I was like, I need this to tell a story that ends with the listener learning self-love, because I don't want my music to embody just what is bad about humanity or what is hard about humanity. I want it to be music that can lift people through those times. So I want it to be real and to articulate how life really is and how things can really be sometimes. But I also want you to have a sense of hope and faithfulness and the awareness that that is not all that is. And that's what that project really was for me. I wanted it to be a journey back to self love.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I was loving myself when I was listening to that. That is
I
something else,
appreciate
and it's
that.
brimming with these smooth vocals. It's very reminiscent for me. It's very reminiscent of Seal. I don't know if you're familiar with his music. Um,
Yeah,
you
I've heard
are.
that a couple times. Yeah, I love it.
Yes,
I love
there's
that
something
comparison.
about the and how resounding. I don't know. It's just something about your vocals is very similar, at least to me, to my ears. Maybe somebody else would pick someone else up. It's very velvety. If that makes any sense. It has a similar texture. His is more seasoned because he's an older artist, but
Facts.
and perhaps when you're like maybe 50, you'll sound like Seal completely. I don't know,
I
but
really appreciate that.
yeah, but this very similar. My favorite track, I must say, is Signs.
Oh
I
my gosh.
that is the Seal song there for me. That sealed the deal, no pun intended. Um, that
Thank you so much.
and then right behind that, I say a close second would be Why. Um, it's just something about the wordplay in that song, and but I want to ask you about Signs. What is Signs all about?
That's actually hilarious. So I wrote that song when I was 15 years old about this girl that I was friends with pretty much, and at the time she was way older than me, but
Mm.
we like, we were speaking on the phone one day, and she said something that like hurt 15-year-old me, and my pride at the time. So I wrote that song.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny, but I think that it is a dope testament to like what it actually turned into, because later on in my life when I listened to that song, I'm like, damn, like that was like prophetic in a lot of ways. I think that was God's way of trying to give me a piece of art to remember who I am at the end of the day. To remember that, like, regardless of whether your feelings are reciprocated or it's unrequited love, you just have to know who you are, and you have to keep stepping, keep on moving at the end of the day. So I love that song too. I really appreciate the fact that that's your favorite, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably most proud of that one on the EP as well. That's probably the most you know professional song on that whole project.
I wouldn't say and understate myself and say most professional, because from the beginning of that album, the very first intro, it was off the chain.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
so yes, I was hooked. I said, wait a minute now, because I've heard your music before, but I was actually listening this time, and yes, it's an experience. And so I hope uh, anyone listening or everyone listening would go into Spotify and to SoundCloud and look for Jahmakesmusic and listen to this album, because it's great, and download it and all the things.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is even the artwork on the signs, that song. Uh, did you do that artwork? Is that a photo? What's happening there?
I actually didn't. Okay, so I have two main artists that do all my cover art for me. One of them is my big sister Mallory. So shout out Mallory, I love you so much. She did the cover for my EP and multiple singles, but the specific signs cover was actually done by my producer Tamira Slade. So there's a couple singles I have where she actually does the graphics for them and the graphics art, and that is one of them. She did a great job with that. I usually just I tell her like what I want it to look like, and then she just does her magic. And I think that's probably the best cover art she's done for me.
Yeah, the artwork itself is very evocative. I Like I said, it's a very immersive experience. Just looking, if you're listening through YouTube and you see the album cover there, or if you're on Spotify and you're just focused in and tuned into the acoustics, you're gonna get an experience that you've never had before. I'm telling you, because it's there's this energy, that's emanating from you. Okay, and you can feel it, and it's positive, and it's a little mischievous too, because like I say, it takes you on a trip. So you have to listen, because it's so layered. The music is layered; it's very layered, and I appreciate the time and the effort, obviously, that you put into this piece. Uh, just wanting to know more about that. But yeah, so your favorite artist? We're talking about artists now. Your favorite artist happens to be whom? Your favorite
Chance.
music artist? Chance. Mm-hmm.
It's still Chance the Rapper.
Okay, that's cool. And what does his song Sunday Candy? What does that mean to this mean to you?
Man, that song literally saved my life. It's still, I mean, I got, it's funny because like I don't even know if I can exactly pinpoint like a favorite song I have from him because I literally like memorized all of his projects word for word.
Mm,
But that's definitely the song that like I think embodies the reason that I want to be a musician because when I first heard it, it literally just reinstated my will to live. It was like it was like God. You know, I heard God in his music, and I really, really, really was inspired by that. You know, that's why he's always gonna be my favorite artist and my number one influence because I feel like beyond express God through your art, and that's literally what art is. It's us accessing that divine ability to conceive, to create something. You know that's what God did with us, and art is how we do that. And you know, Chance is definitely the number one in the game right now, still to this day, when it comes to divine expression through art. He has a song that he dropped, I believe, last year,
mm,
called "Child of God." That's super,
wow.
super, super slept on. But that's another
Mm,
song that gave me that same type of emotion that Sunday Candy did, to where when I heard it, I just started crying and I just felt the Holy Spirit because it's essentially just him saying, you know, regardless of what the world says, regardless of how the world reacts to you, you are a child of God and you have to do your thing, child. You have to do what God tells you, you know? And I
yeah,
love that. I love that.
beautiful.
That's the meaning of life to me. So I will
Oh,
always love him and respect him for showing me that. You know what I'm saying?
yes. Man, it's beautiful. I can't hide it, okay? It gets me excited to know just how much one person's influence, like God using that person as a conduit, actually, not
For
that
real.
one person, because he's just channeling, and so the same way he would use you to touch the life of someone else.
Amen.
Yeah, and on, the circle of life. Yeah, it's just beautiful. And what about, is it this the song you said? It's the song and it's the lyrics and it's the feeling, or is it something about the music video? Is that having had an influence on you as well?
Yeah, I would definitely, I would say for me it was, yeah, it was the combination because especially back in the day, like when Chance was first coming up and he still had to, you know, show the world who he was. It was
Mm,
movie level quality production behind everything. I'm not saying it's changed now or anything like that, but I
mm,
definitely felt it then. Like in the Sunday Candy music video, he has all these like really dope famous dancers in it doing this crazy routine. He's doing a part of the dance routine. He had it
mm,
done like on this really dope theatrical music theater stage, and like people were rolling in the different sets behind him as he's going through the verses. It's just a beautiful video. The lyrics are essentially him explaining him going to church on Sunday with his grandmother and comparing his love for his partner, his romantic partner, to the candy he gets. It's very, very beautiful. I think it's like one of my favorite love songs ever.
oh wow. Well, I listened to it and I could appreciate definitely that it was a lot that went into the production, and the set pieces were all very interesting and engaging. And I thought that, I said, well, this guy, I'm not too familiar with him, but you turned me on to him now, so I'm checking him out. Big
That's
time.
what's up.
Big time, big time. So that's great. So if he gets around to hearing this, hey, you guys should do a collab for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So music is something that I'd say from the beginning, it's a part of you, and you were part of it.
Definitely, yeah. I was born
Yeah.
into it. My mom, you know, was a signed recording artist in the '90s. She was an R&B artist signed to Bad Boy Atlanta. She went
Oh
all over the
wow.
world doing music. She really did it. You know, she
Mm-hmm.
backup sang for Guru, Alicia Keys, Wu Tang. She did a lot of stuff, and she
Mm-hmm.
gave it up to be my mom. You know, she said that it was a choice she had to make between, you know, delving into that world fully and all the, you know, the trauma that comes with that, or, you know, just focus on going back to school, you know, and taking care of me and my little sister at the time. And that's what she chose to do. She just put her head in the books. She moved us to another state.
Mm-hmm.
She became a professor after like 12 years of grinding. You know, she gave
Wow.
up that life, you know.
Congratulations, mom. That's great.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. It's been a struggle in a lot of different ways, but I definitely do respect her doing what she thought was best for her kids. I can't get mad at her for that, you know. And I just find it funny that me and all my siblings just got into the arts anyway, because ever since we were little, that was all we were into, what we wanted to do. And she would always tell us like, "Hey, I don't y'all want to be a lawyer? I would really appreciate it if y'all would like, be a lawyer or an architect or something like that. Like, why do y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do y'all
Hmm.
just fall into this? But it's just in our blood."
Right. Yeah, that's understandable. And I mean understandable from her perspective is what I'm saying, because I am a mother and I know how it is when you want the best for your kids, you considering this the best, but this is the best for you because this is something that you enjoy. This is your passion.
I agree. Yeah,
Mm,
I think that it's like, I think there's certain things that people just are called to because that's what you're created for, and I think everyone has that.
mhm.
I know we all have that, a divine purpose, you know, and I just feel like that's just part of ours. That expression, that ability. Like for example, my sister's a dancer, and
Mhm.
ever since she was like literally a toddler, like two, that's just how she expressed herself, with movement. I can't dance a lick. You know what I'm saying? But that's her purpose.
You
That's
can
what she
bob your
does.
head.
You know what I'm saying? I could tap my foot. I could do a two-step maybe. If I really tried, I could. But she just knows. That's just her flow. And that's what she was born to do.
Yeah, but you have a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of internal movement, and that's expressed through your lyrics and through the creation of your music. So it's just you have the same movement per se, but it just comes out differently.
I
You're
appreciate
expressed
that.
differently. Yeah,
I
this is
appreciate
who
that.
you are.
Amen.
Yeah. So with the music, and there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. What keeps you grounded in the midst of all of this?
Keeps me grounded.
Yeah, and just because your head can flow pretty high when you're just like, and you're in the studio and you're in the midst of a lot of stuff that
I
can come
feel you.
at you. Hmm.
Um, I'll say right now, in terms of like grounding me, because like keeping me in reality, it would have to be like the content creation side of things, because honestly over this past year or so I've been doing way more on YouTube than I have been in the music world, and that's just because
Hmm.
like real life happens and you need to make money, so you got to do what you got to do to make money. And I just saw this as one of the ways to build a continual stream of income, and it's taking me off what I want to do in terms of like just singing all the time and being in the studio all the time. But I feel like it's keeping me grounded in the sense that it's teaching me a lot of other life skills that I need in order to be successful as a musician, including self-sustainability, including, what I'm saying, how to promote myself. I don't got to pay no editor no more. I could be my own videographer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yes.
got a lot of different skills from just taking a year off to grind out YouTube. And I'm proud of that. It definitely has grounded me.
Yeah, I could see that this is another passion that you have, because you can't just go into this thing, I don't want to say the word, but you have to put all of it in there. And so tell us more about John Makes Nerds. Now, this is something. John makes music. Now John made a baby. Now John is making
Job
John's
making
making
stuff.
he's making stuff. What's John Makes Nerds all about?
Okay, so that was just my way of passing time at first. Really, I was when I created it, I was in another state from my home state. You know what I'm saying? Where I didn't really know too many people. And I was really bored. I don't know what else to say. Like, I just felt like I had lost my direction because I had just left my studio behind, left my producer behind, my whole team. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only person where I'm at. I didn't know what to do, so I just prayed. I was like, "Yo, God, like what path am I supposed to be on right now? What am I supposed to do?" And I just heard, he just kept saying, "Make videos about your anime. Make videos about your anime," because anime has always been a huge passion in my life. Literally,
Mm,
like since I was born, basically, it's been a big thing. I've always been heavily into that world and comics and video games, all that. Something I just heavily studied and knew about, including YouTube. YouTube's been a part of my life since I was like 4 or 5.
mhm,
You know, so I just like I knew a lot about it already, and I watched a lot of other people in those niches, but I never tried to make it on my own. So I was like, okay, and I just tried the account. I was like, I'm gonna make this account, and I'm gonna see where it goes. I just started talking about Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. And then I want to say like a month or two after I did that,
Mm,
There's this anime called One Piece, and I'm trying not to
mm,
spoil too much about it. But
okay.
basically, me and that in the main character One Piece have a really crazy random thing in common.
Mm,
And I just kind of played into that, and I started making my channel about One Piece videos. And when I did that, my TikTok account blew up, got like 40,000 followers in like a week, off of me talking about One Piece, millions and millions of new viewers coming in. And that's pretty much where all my fan base came from, was just from me making One Piece videos.
genius, genius. You're brilliant. You know,
Thank you.
you're brilliant. And videos are. I mean, I was kind of lost looking at them. Lots of colors and flashy things, but but I could see that there's an artistry to it. I was still able to appreciate the artistry because it's done in a way that's actually captivating. And yeah, so I could tell you that honestly, I don't know everything that's going on with it, but I can appreciate what you've done.
I
And
really appreciate
yeah,
that.
and it's great. And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud of you too, for real. Thank you.
so what so what's next with the nerd bit? Is there something else that you're cooking?
Um, Really, right now, I'm just trying to like, I don't want to say delve fully into that, but I
Mm-hmm.
definitely am taking that more seriously now because we just became a YouTube partner. I want to say like a month ago exactly today. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really motivated me to start taking YouTube way more seriously, because I've only had my channel for about a year now. So I'm thinking that as long as I keep putting in the work that I've been putting in now, I could definitely take over this niche. Like, I really don't think there's any other black anime YouTubers in my niche that do what I do. So I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's God's way of telling me to just take this seriously. And then I could use this as a venue, as a platform to make everything else I want to do happen. Like, my music, my novels, whatever it is, creatively I
Mm-hmm.
want to express myself. I feel like YouTube is going to be the basis for all of it. So I'm just
Go for
really
it.
just trying to put my head down and just grind on that.
And your YouTube channel, what is? Can you tell us your YouTube channel handle?
Yes, it's Jah Makes Nerdies. That's Nerdies. Jah Makes Nerdies.
Great. I will definitely have all of that info in the show notes.
Thank
But I'm telling you, it's something else. It's really entertaining and it's just fast paced. So if you if you're into that and you're into anime, you should check it out. Most definitely. That's just great. I'm
Thank you.
just really happy for you. Uh, for creatives, there may be a creative, an artist, a musician, someone listening in, wanting to know how they could probably get a taste of what you've experienced and creatively. What would you say to them?
I mean, some people will say it's corny, or they might feel like it's corny when I say this, but I want y'all to know I genuinely mean it. Just pray, for real, because
Mm-hmm.
every creative idea I've had that actually like became something or that means something, I ask source for it, I ask spirit for it, and then it just flows. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
beyond being just a musician, another thing that's really important to me is writing. You know what I'm saying? That's always been a super super um huge part of my life. And I have a comic book that I've been working on since I was like 10 called Revelations. And
Oh wow.
and ever since I first came up with it, from start to finish, the whole thing plays out like a movie in my head. And I've always interpreted that as it not coming from me. I view it as a channel message. That's how I view stories. I believe stories are us peeking into other realities. Is God's way of teaching us something through other experiences. So when it comes to me having a creative idea or wanting to creatively express something, the first thing I usually always do is write it down or pray, because I feel like those are like the two ways to really channel it.
Yeah, that's amen to that. That's some great advice.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I just want to add this bit for those out there listening. It could be someone who is a younger person or a teenager or a kid, and they're listening in and they've gotten some rejection. They've had an experience where they've really were passionate about something and someone kind of dejected them. Um, can you give them a word of encouragement today?
Just do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not to quote Chance, but that's another thing that song really instilled in me is just that, people are gonna hate when you're chosen. When God has something that you have to express, the demons and other people are not gonna like that. And they're going to attack you. They're going to make you feel less than. They're going to do anything they can to try to put obstacles in your path to prevent you from actualizing and fulfilling your divine purpose. So you just have to know that when that happens, that means that you're closer than you've ever been to actualizing yourself. Every time somebody hates on you, everybody tells you that you can't do something, when you're having moments like that, that means that you are doing exactly what you were made for, and that you just have to keep going. So I just tell them to keep going and do your thing regardless. If you got haters, that means you're doing something right.
Ain't that something? And that encourages me because I know you're going to have a beautiful future and you're
Thank
going to
you.
be very successful. Keep on the path that you're on. You're going to get there.
Thank you so much. I received
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Likewise.
yeah. And this has been great. And like I said, I won't keep you long because, you got baby duty,
Yeah.
daddy duty. So
Yeah.
I'd love to have you back on.
I
You
would
need to
love to
come
be
back
back
on.
on.
We need to talk to you some more about your music and where this goes. Where nerdies can turn into something else. Maybe Ja does film, and you get a maybe that's the next step. We'll see.
Amen. I manifest that. I would love that.
Yeah, but it's been great having you, and it's such a pleasure speaking with you. You're a brilliant mind, and let that mind continue to blossom for all of us and for the universe.
Ashe, thank you, and likewise, I received that, and I'll be on whenever whenever you want to have me. I promise I'll be here. I won't, what I'm saying, be late.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
You were listening to Journaling with PT and my conversation with musician, artist, beautiful person, Jahmakesmusic. Please follow him on social media. All of his information will be in the show notes. Follow the Journaling with PT podcast. If you want to contact me, my website is ptrussell.com. Thank you and stay tuned.